Good morning, everybody. My name is India, and you are listening to a Tall Girls podcast. Now, today I'm going to be talking about how to not care what other people think. At first, I wanted to kind of relate this to tall people, like how to not care what people think about your height, or how to not care what people think when you wear heels or something along those lines. But I think it may be better to make it more generic because this should really be a mindset for all people, not just tall people. Now, for the most part, you really shouldn't be living your life on other people's terms because it's your life. These other people could possibly be in it for a short amount of time. A lot of them do come and go. So you're stuck with your life for your entire life while they're off living their own life. And honestly, your entire life is a very long time, like a very, very, very long time. And there could be a variety of reasons why we care so much about what other people think. A big one, I believe, is because we might value that person so much. This can be a parent, a partner, a sibling, a close friend, whatever. They're such important figures in our lives, so yeah, it does make sense that their opinions do affect us in a huge way. But if they're taking advantage of that can honestly be super toxic. I think that another reason why we may care about other people's opinion is for self-esteem. Self-esteem can really play a part, like a huge part, in our worries of other people's opinions, okay? Sometimes our insecurities get into our heads and we often seek validation. We want to know that we are enough, not necessarily for other people, but just even for ourselves. Like, are we enough? Are we awesome? Are we cool? Are we beautiful? We want to feel happy with ourselves. And sometimes we feel like the validation from other people might be the answer. And honestly, it's normal. Well, it's human rather. And today I want to give 3 tips on how to not care about people's opinions of you. Coming from a person who really, for the most part, does not care about what other people think. So let's just get started. So the first thing is focusing on yourself. Now, I know many of you have heard this a million times. I know I have, but honestly, it's so true. And I want to offer a different perspective on this because when I first hear focus on yourself, I primarily think, prioritize your mental health, getting to know yourself better, taking walks around the block, taking yourself out on a date, asking yourself questions that make you think about your life and others around you and all of that other stuff. And don't get me wrong, stuff like this is not a bad thing. It's really good. You should be prioritizing your mental health. You should be focusing on self-care. You should take yourself out on dates, go for that walk. Ask yourself life-changing questions, life-revealing questions, getting to know yourself better. But I feel like there should also be another added layer to it. Part of caring about other people's opinions is holding yourself back from the things you want to do out of fear of what other people will think of you, out of fear that one person from your math class in 5th grade will find you and be like, Tammy is doing this, she's so stupid. We don't want that. We don't want to live in fear, especially fear of what other people think. I mean, yeah, it's normal for other people to have opinions of what you're doing in life, but whatever your goals are, just go and pursue them. I know it can be scary, believe me, okay? I first thought that when I started this podcast, but I firmly believe that it's better to try it and fail. It's better to try it and just have a few people just try to take you down, try to say negative comments, rather than to just not do it at all and just think, what if I did try it, instead of letting other people and their opinions just get in the way and get in my head. And like I said before, it's fine for other people to have opinions. It's fine to worry about it. It's even fine to ask about other people's opinions, what they think of this or what they think of that. If you decide to do this, like, how do they see it? But especially the ones closest to you. But that's honestly a small piece of the bigger puzzle. And this leads me to tip number 2, and that's understanding that it's ultimately up to you and only you. It's your life, and I'm sorry, this is so hard because it's all you. It's your life. You should be the one making that final decision. You should weigh your own pros and cons in your head, and you should just make that decision from what you assessed, okay? I mean, it's normal for other people to have assessments of your life and of your decision and what you're doing, but this is your one and only life. You had to take the opportunity and you have to do what makes you happy. Yes, their opinions can play a role, albeit a minor role. They can play a role in your decisions, but the biggest factor, the most important role, is your opinion, what you think of the situation. And understand that taking control of your life, especially taking control back, is taking other people's thoughts and opinions and assessments and critiques with a grain of salt. But don't get too carried away, I should say, because if what you're doing involves other people or another person, then yeah, their thoughts and their opinions, their critiques, their assessments, they're gonna have to weigh a little bit more. Because if it involves them, if it affects their lives, they have every right. But if it's just you and it's the only aspect of your life and not theirs, then yeah, it should really just be on you. Screw them and what they think. Your thoughts count. And they don't play, I don't want to say they don't play a part, because they could, depending on their importance in your life, but they don't play a huge part in any of that aspect of your life. You ultimately, if it involves just you ultimately have to live with that decision. So obviously it should be up to you. And my last tip for today is removing the toxic folks. You guys know how I feel about toxic people. You know that I'm always like, remove them from your life. We don't have time for the toxic people and all that. That's so true. We don't have time for toxic people. Let me say that again. We don't have time for toxic people. You need to also understand that they're in your life temporarily. If they're not there forever, and if they stay longer than anticipated, if they stay longer than necessary, if they stay longer than expected, it's because you allow them to stay there. Yeah, some people will have negative opinions of you and your decisions and your thoughts, but if it's constant, if it's constantly negative with that one particular person while other people are saying, yeah, that's good, that's awesome, that's amazing, there's something wrong there. And like I said before, we don't have time for negativity. We don't have time for hate. We don't have time for toxicity. We just don't. We have too many awesome things in life to do than to be worrying about all of that negativity. So cut that toxic friend, that toxic partner, that toxic family member, whoever is toxic. Just cut them out of your life. Honestly, sometimes living happily in solitude is better than living unhappily with the toxic people. It is. So I know it may be hard, especially if they live with you and if you have to see them at family gatherings or if they're part of some club you're in and blah, blah, blah. But like I said, understanding that these people are in your lives temporarily. It's not forever. And when it gets time to cut them loose, do it quick, do it fast, do it prompt, do it swift. Get them out as soon as possible, as soon as you get the chance. So yeah, that's all I have for you today, folks. I hope this helps, and please be kind to yourself. Honestly, the tips that I gave, it takes time. It takes effort. It's a process. It's not going to happen right away. There will be hiccups in the road, but just know that I at least support you. I got your back, okay? Because becoming the best version of yourself is not an easy task. So hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. They're going to be linked below. And thank you guys so much for over 200 downloads. That's insane. You guys are honestly so amazing. And I hope that you know that I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope to see you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.